August 18, 2015. Been watching the Sakurajima volcano in Japan for the last few days. Now they've upped that warning. It says unprecedented volcano warning near Japan's only restarted nuke plant. Mountain is swelling and expanding. Large amounts of magma are causing sudden crustal movement. The government there is saying now it's an extremely high risk of major eruption. Just before they restarted that plant, they said there was very little chance of a major eruption. That's kind of how it works. Nuclear industry in bed with the government because they're greasing each other's palms with plenty of dough. It says Japan's weather agency issued a warning that the likelihood of the eruption of Sakurajima was extremely high after it detected a spike in seismic activity. They have warned an evacuation of the city of just over 600,000 may be necessary. The possibility for a large-scale eruption has become extremely high. It comes as a nuclear reactor 50 kilometers or 31 miles away will switch back on. It says alone there's been 1,023 volcanic earthquakes. The GMA has pointed out that crustal changes that indicate mountain swell as a result of magma rise are still continuing. It says the underground pressure hasn't been relieved and eruption could occur at any time. It says the mountain is expanding. There's a large volume of magma coming to accumulate. You guys in this area better be aware of this because we'll look at this on the map. It's a very dangerous situation. It goes on to say that this is a level warning 4, which is unprecedented. Now, Japan knows about volcanoes. There's many of them around the Ring of Fire, but they're acutely aware of a few there. It says that Japan remained alert for signs of a major eruption. An official call on the public to act calmly. A major eruption could be imminent. Level 4 is the highest ever for Sakurajima. One person says, I have lived there for 50 years, but have not imagined we would have to evacuate. And when you see the pictures, and you guys, some of you have, of how close this giant mountain is to 600,000 people, you'd wonder about that statement. It says, crustal movement was also observed and signs indicating magma has risen to the volcanic vent. It would be no surprise if it were to erupt at any moment. Again, the NRA and Japan's nuclear regulator decided that there's little chance of major volcanic eruption in the next several decades, right before they turned it on. They're saying they are not taking any particular precautions because they think a possible eruption would not affect the plant. It says volcanic rock and ash could cut off transport routes and prompt workers at Sendai to flee the nuclear site in the event of an eruption. It says the environmentalists are complaining that the company has paid insufficient attention to the effect of heavy ashfall on the plant's machinery. The Sendai nuclear power plant has not designated a site for relocating nuclear fuel in the event of a massive volcanic eruption, claiming that warning signs would give KEPCO enough time to prepare and transfer the fuel. In the event of a major eruption, however, pyroclastic flows could reach the plant and disable cooling functions, which could trigger massive radioactive emissions. The sheer volume of spent fuel makes it hard to find a relocation site big enough to take them. A member of the panel advising government said the panel's opinion is not necessarily consistent with that of the Nuclear Regulatory Association. They're going to argue about it. They got to keep that money flowing. Let's look at the maps a minute. First, in the Pacific, guys, you've got 2 major storms, the largest in the back. This one may do a curve into Japan, so they may have more problems than just the volcanoes and the nuclear plants. This one looks like it's going to go into Thailand. But if we pull this up, southern Japan off the coast of South Korea, you can see Nagasaki there that took the big bomb, but we're going to go all the way to the southern tip. Now, Kagoshima is the large city here with 600,000 people in it. This is Mount Sakurajima. Now, we're looking at live weather overlays, so you can see right now there is steam coming from this mountain. It doesn't look like clouds. It's too isolated in that area. But if you come across right here out of the bay, this is the large city. Again, 600,000 people, over 500,000. They would have to be pulled out if it blows and moves west. Now, if we come up the coast, right here, Sendai Nuclear Power Plant, it's not as large as the one that we saw before, but it is the same exact General Electric design. Right next to the ocean, coming down off the hillsides with the underground water tables pouring right through it. Planned destruction. Maybe if they just, maybe they were thinking that as these things wore out over their 25 or 30-year lifespan, and they keep increasing those once they get a permit from the NRC, even if they're leaking all over the world, they get a new permit. But same type situation, guys. I guess maybe they think again it will last through the life of the plants, and maybe something will happen, just wash them out into the ocean. Ruin the entire planet. It's an evil plan, and it's paying off for the ones in charge. They have a price to pay. Those that destroy this world will be destroyed. And let's go back and take a look at the volcano itself for a moment. So we pull it down. You can see the different areas where not only rain, but volcanic ash, pyroclastic flows, things like that have happened over the years. And we've seen these large eruptions. I've done a couple videos in the last few years about them, but none have been on this high of alert. So when you're looking at this, you're looking at Mount Sakurajima, you can almost see the focal point of where this blast would go. It looks like, according to the pyroclastic flows, it goes over the other side of this mountain, and that's headed north. You see that? As we twirl this around, you're going dead south back into the open ocean. As we come around to the right, you can see the flanking here and the valleys, and again, a lot of this is rain. And here's your city. Off to the north in this area is the nuclear plant, 31 miles away. And again, what they're concerned with there is that the employees could be forced to evacuate under heavy ash, and that it could stop up some of the machines that at the nuclear power plant as this ash falls into them. Guys, we're going to be watching this. You need to pay attention to it, you guys in Japan. But when you have a volcano this large, you can have effects that travel great distances. And even closer in that area, guys, pyroclastic flows. You have to watch it. And you're dealing with, again, this is Sakurajima from a side view. You've seen these go off, and we've seen some large explosions also. But you can see the top of that mountain has been blown away before. We're going to pay attention to it, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.